Hello, today I'll present our work Situational Graphs for Robot Navigation in Structured Indoor Environments. Recent approaches like scene graph fusion and Hydra model the scene as a graph in order to efficiently represent the environment and its semantic elements in a hierarchical representation. Although these works using scene graphs show promising results, there still exists a gap to connect the scene graphs with SLAM methods, as the constraint between the objects are just informative and not necessarily optimizable. In this direction, we present situational graphs which bridges the gap between traditional LiDAR SLAMs and scene graphs. Our S-graph is a single optimizable graph divided in three layers, namely the robot tracking layer where the robot poses are registered, a metric-semantic layer with features such as planar walls, and our novel topological layer constraining the planar walls using higher level features such as rooms and corridors. The main contributions of this paper are the real-time generation of a hierarchical S-graph using robot odometry and 3D LiDAR measurements, introduction of novel room and corridor factors constraining the map planar landmarks, and demonstration of the working of S-graph on simulated and real data sets in office and construction sites. The overall pipeline can be divided into four main modules as seen in the colored boxes in Figure 1. The first module performs pre-filtering over the LiDAR data and performs planar segmentation. The second module estimates the robot odometry either using 3D LiDAR measurements or the robot encoders. The third module is the LiDAR mapping module, which generates the three-layered situational graph. And the fourth layer is the loop closure module constraining the neighboring keyframes to perform appropriate loop closures. Our pipeline can thus not only perform robust pose-estimation of the robot, but also generate accurate 3D maps. S-graphs can be visualized in detail in the following figure. Robot tracking layer creates SE3 factor nodes of robot keyframe poses at different time intervals in the map frame and constrains them using pairwise odometry measurements. The metric semantic layer creates factored nodes for planar surfaces extracted by the planar segmentation module and constrains them to the keyframes using minimal plane parameterization. The topological layer first accesses if the map planes at given time instance belong to a particular object or a structural component to further constrain its geometry. Our novelty lies in the formulation of room and corridor nodes as well as suitable constraints between the room nodes and its respective planar walls. We define a room node as constraining floor planar walls and similarly a corridor node constraining two parallel planar walls. S-graphs has been validated on both simulated and real environments. The data sets are collected teleoperating a Boston Dynamics spot robot equipped with a Velodyne 3D LiDAR. S-graphs is coded in C++ and runs real-time on these datasets on board an Intel 1916 core workstation. As can be seen in Table 1 to 3, both in simulated experiments and real experiments, S-graphs obtain state-of-the-art accuracy when comparing to 6 state-of-the-art SLAM-based techniques. In continuation, we show the execution of S-graphs on some of the real-world datasets. On construction floor 2, the robot is navigated randomly for 4 rounds, creating the robot tracking layer while mapping the planar walls and constraining them using appropriate room nodes. The viewer can observe the higher quality of reconstruction obtained by running our S-graphs when comparing it to the baseline. In long corridor experiment, the robot is navigated through a long corridor, constraining the walls using appropriate corridor nodes. As the robot navigates back, to its original point. Due to high error in the robot odometry, the planar mapping shows errors. But due to the corridor constraint, the planar mapping error gets rectified and we can obtain higher quality maps. The viewer can observe the higher quality of reconstruction obtained using our S-graphs, whereas the poor quality of reconstruction using the baseline. We also validate S-graphs on large environments such as the LE2 experiment, where there were several corridors as the robot navigated. And similarly, the user can view the higher quality of the map created by our S-graphs, whereas the quality of the map created by the baseline. I thank you for your attention, and you can find the link to the paper in the QR code here.